Set the potato, sunlight that always stays, dinner by the waterway. It's that sweet life. Raise your cross. Made some dude crack a smile. He asked if I could stay a while. I'm living that high life. Time to catch a flight, but you can make me go. Unlocking all the memories of my new home. Ventilated echoes playing to and fro, back and forth, yeah. Caught some kids dancing in the alleyway. Crazy how the melodies began to play, yeah. Tell me how you feeling when you hear the lyric, yeah. My heart's in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. I left my heart in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. Shopping together, I brought a girl on my Vespa. She said I already told ya, yeah. I never dated a black guy. I said you're brown yourself. Let me offer help. Come on inside, where everybody knows your name, everybody knows your name. Time to catch a flight, but you can make me go. Unlocking all the memories of my new home. Ventilated echoes playing to and fro, back and forth, yeah. Caught some kids dancing in the alleyway. Crazy how the melodies began to play, yeah. Tell me how you feeling when you hear the lyric, yeah. My heart's in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. I left my heart in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. Separate again. Sunlight that always stays, dinner by the waterway. It's that sweet life, sweet life, sweet life. I never wanna go home, go home. I'm living in Stockholm, Stockholm. I never wanna go home, go home.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are here live on the Benjamin Dixon Show. The segment is on the clock. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have so much to discuss. You know, the Biden-Harris administration ran on a ticket to prioritize Black issues. And they did that largely because they knew that they were counting on the Black vote to get across the finish line. And so, what we're hearing in Minnesota is a lot of Black community leaders, Black politicians calling on the Biden Harris to make true on that promise. Recently in Minnesota, there was another killing by law enforcement officers. And this time, unlike George Floyd and Dante Wright, it's not making national headlines. And there's a few reasons. Primarily because Winston Smith, who was killed by a U.S. Marshal on Thursday, he was killed in an incident that was not captured on body camera footage, despite the fact that now for almost a decade, that has been common practice. It has been the recommended practice by law enforcement agencies to have your body cam on so that there can be transparency. And if there is a situation where fatal force is used, they can have the footage as evidence to justify why. But despite that, here we are in Minnesota, another killing of a Black man. And in this incident, there's no footage. So, what we're hearing from community leaders now is them calling on the Biden Harris administration to stand on that promise. Take a listen.
We are standing here asking for the Biden administration, who have made claims that they stand with Black lives, to stand with Black lives, and to rein in their own administration law enforcement. We ask for the immediate termination of the Trump appointee at the Marshal. In addition to that, we ask for an immediate investigation into what took place. We are also demanding today all agencies in the state of Minnesota who work with the U.S. Marshals to end their relationship until we know that they have proper leadership and proper policies in place to protect our community, and most importantly, to create accountability and transparency.
Now, we just heard from Jaylani Hussein, Executive Director of CARE Minnesota. He's asking for an intervention from the Biden-Harris administration, who did say that they were going to lead on these issues, right? But they've been silent for the most part. Meanwhile, bills have been presented on a city, state, and national level. And primarily, those bills have struggled to get passed into legislation. And so I want to bring in Representative Rena Moran and radio personality Bobby Eaton to discuss some of this. Bobby is headquartered in Tulsa. Representative Rena Moran here in Minnesota. Moran, you also serve on you're the chair of the United Black Legislative Caucus. So you're very familiar with what it takes to get bills across the finish line. And how hard sometimes that can be. Could you provide some context on some of the bills, whether it's on the state level or on a national level, that would address police reform and police accountability, and why some of those bills are not getting all the way through?
Well, good morning, Georgia, and thank you for the invitation to be here. Yes, I am the current chair of Ways and Means. You know, most folks don't know what that means. You know, we used to be in chair of Education or Health and Human Service. So what that means here for me is that the chair of Ways and Means is that any bill that has a fiscal note attached to it that costs money has to come through my committee and go out of my committee. And what I have decided to do as chair of Ways and Means is to set a standard that we are here working a racial equity agenda in the state of Minnesota, meaning that any bills that come into my committee has to have a racial equity lens to it, that we are investing in our community. And a big part of that is definitely looking at how we're going to invest our money around police accountability, and what that investment looks like, and what are those policies that's going to be moving through public safety that comes before Ways and Means. And we have a huge agenda around racial equity within our public safety committee. They are moving several bills through that committee right now. We are now currently going into a special session because we could not complete our work on time. We are getting huge pushback from our Republican colleagues who's trying to minimize the need to work on police accountability and police reform here in the state of Minnesota. And let me just say, here in the state of Minnesota, we are the only state in the country that has a divided legislature, meaning that in the Minnesota House of Representatives, we are Democratic led, and in the Senate, it is Republican led. That means that we absolutely have two bodies who are butting heads about how we should move our state forward and what those investment needs to look like. And it's been a real challenge right now to get our Republican colleagues to really invest in meaningful police reform and police accountability, and to build on the work that we were able to do in 2019, which was like really a minimum first step around police accountability.
Yeah, and that divide that you talked about and that resistance, that pushback is not just something that we're seeing in the state of Minnesota. It's actually something that we are seeing on a national level. Ben, I know that you're following in other states and on a federal level the pushback, the resistance that folks are seeing. Could you speak to maybe some of the challenges in even with the George Floyd Policing Act? Why that hasn't passed yet. Here we are a year later, despite the fact that we know with our Asian brothers and sisters who were attacked, right? They got a bill passed almost immediately. Why is there so much pushback and resistance when it comes to advancing the conversation about protecting Black lives?
First of all, good morning, Georgia, and good morning, Representative Moran and Brother Bobby. I've seen underneath this conversation something that bothers me, and it seems as though whenever we get legislation for police reform, something that's seen as a benefit for the Black community, it ends up being more money for the police and less of a benefit for the Black community. And I'm wondering, how do we make that distinction? Because if this George Floyd bill, and this is something that one of his brothers said last week or about 2 weeks ago, that if this bill doesn't actually do something, they're not going to allow his name to be placed on it. And I think that's got to be the standard across the board with all legislation we see from the Democratic Party. It's got to have something in it for Black people.
Yeah, I would agree, right? So George Floyd is not the first Black man to be murdered in Minnesota. We also have Dante Wright, but we also have, Philando Castile. And so when Philando Castile was murdered, we immediately put up legislation for that and wanted to call, the Philando Castile training, right? We want police officers to be trained through a race equity lens, And even then, there was pushback. Even now, we continue to hear police who have really strong relationships with our Senate counterpart. When I was negotiating along with Representative Chair Mariani in 2020, after the death of George Floyd, we began to negotiate around police accountability. And personally being in those meetings with my Republican colleagues, banning chokehold bills, changing the language for use of force, looking at banning warrior training. It was out of 18 provisions that we put forward, we was able to get 11 of those provisions into law. But it was hard. It was hard work because our Senate colleagues has great partnerships with the Minnesota Office of Police and Peace Officers Associations. And they are really leading the conversations and the negotiations with the Senate. And it was clear to us in order to get any type of conversation, any type of policies, any type of bills moved, that I had to be in conversation with the MOPPA, Police Officer Associations, because the Senate are working through that
Mm.
entity. That
Mhm.
entity. And so here we are right now in 2021. We're trying to do reforms around looking at the George Floyd, looking
Right.
at, building on what we did in 2020. And the only narrative that I hear coming from my Republican colleagues is that we need to invest in police. We
Yes.
need to give them a raise. We need to make sure that they have more training dollars.
Hmm.
That is the narrative, right? And so we have, the chair Mariana here in the state of Minnesota, who is the chair of public safety, along with our UBLC lead, Representative Cedric Frazier, are standing strong on provisions that we believe as a Black caucus, as a Black community, what needs to move forward that we feel is going to, one, make, include a community in solutions that will build on us as a Black community feeling safe, and to clearly move a statement that says that if we invest in police accountability and police reform, it has to be real reform done through the lens of Black who has been disproportionately impacted
Yeah.
by
Yeah. And
shootings of Black men,
but
women, and children.
mhm. what
Bobby,
I
did you want
what I'd like to
to?
say about this conversation is this is taking place across the United States of America. The same way she is explaining herself, it's going across. It's right here in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Mm.
1921, home of Black Wall Street. The same thing she's encountering, it's just happening across the board. And I want to say this: until we as Black people get together and start voting, we must start voting, because in order to have change, you have to change policy.
Yes.
And without changing policy, there's nothing changing. So
Mm.
we have to get together and start voting. You got to get with your youth, you got to get with your young people, you got to get with your community, because a lot of times your communities may know of these legislative elected officials by name, but they don't know their titles and what they do and what they stand for.
Mm.
So voting on the local level is better than voting on the national level.
Amen.
So you have to be able to invest. Okay, here in Oklahoma, you know, I have a radio broadcast, KBOB 89.9 FM, and we do training. We do training to our community. We go out and tell them what a state representative is, what a senator is, what a city council member is. We explain those titles, so they'll know exactly what these people do that we elect, rather than just electing them by first name. So you have to get out into your community and not just sit back and talk about it, but you got to be about it,
Mm.
And so the more people you can educate, the more people you can get together, like they did back in the civil rights movement back in the day. Everybody was informed of what was going on. So we need that same type of communication right today, because you can talk real high, on high levels, and people don't even understand what you're talking about. But when you break it down to layman's terms, and you can get it to where the average everyday Blow Joe can
Mm.
listen to it and take it in heed, and go out and go to the town hall meetings and go to the city council meetings in your communities, then you can really make a difference.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, Bobby, one, this is our civil rights movement moment right now. And you're right, we have to be civically engaged. We have to vote. We have to be informed. And we also have to be running. Right. We all those things is now necessary. It's no longer that we can stand back and just say to other people, what are you going to do? This is not about somebody else doing something. This is about all of us doing something. Right. And at the same time, those who are in office, you hold us accountable. Right. You have to hold us accountable. And let me say, when I say accountable, what you also have to do is have relationships with your elected officials.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You have to have relationships. You have to do both of them, and both of them are hugely needed, because at the end of the day, you know, okay, this is my experience as an elected official who's been in office for 11 years.
You said the key word, elected officials.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes,
are elected by the people.
Come on.
that's
And,
right.
and the
Yeah.
people must contact you for issues because you work for the people. You know,
Right.
Right.
sometimes we work for ourselves and
Mm.
we don't work for the people.
Mm.
You know, and the people don't know what you're doing because I'm not saying they don't know in your case, but I'm just saying in some cases they don't know what elected officials are doing because elected officials don't notify the communities to let them know what they're doing.
That's right. Bobby, and you
Mm.
bring up a really good point. And even when you talked about the importance of voting, I know that it's even more critical on a city and state level, which sometimes those aren't, the big to-dos, right? The big to-do is usually the presidential election. But Black people did vote in the presidential election, and people really wanted to see Trump get out. They voted and supported Biden and Harris.
That's right.
And I think the question that's on the top of people's minds, and regardless if you think public safety is a priority, even if it's economic development in the Black community or education or healthcare in the Black community, the question on a lot of people's minds is, where is Biden and Harris? And I reflect back to when Obama was in office, we would hear him use his platform, use his political power to touch on some of these issues that impacted specifically the Black community in a way that I don't think we're seeing Biden and Harris show up for us. I want to play one more clip and then get back to this and go a little bit deeper with you guys. But Jaylani Hussein, who we heard from earlier, is not the only one who's pointing out the lack of conversation from the current presidential administration. Take a listen to this other clip.
We want transparency. Mona needs to step down, and Biden needs to get involved. It is unacceptable for this city to go backwards in its integrity that has been non-existent for Black people since its inception. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And we know that they don't even do the right thing when people are looking and filming. So you can imagine what they're doing when nobody's looking on the top of a parking lot. You can imagine that the narrative they put out saying Winston Smith had a gun is completely false, is manufactured. And I can say that just from experience of hearing from their press releases time and time and time again. Somebody knew that they wouldn't have body cameras. Somebody knew that there would be no squad car footage. Somebody knew that they could possibly kill somebody without anybody knowing.
And so that is Toussaint Morrison, founder of On-Site Media, speaking there. And of course, he's centering everything around what just happened, which is Winston Smith being killed by a U.S. Marshal. Well, U.S. Marshal is a federal task force. The head of that department here in Minnesota was appointed by Trump. And so, yes, here people are calling for that individual to step down. But now we're hearing from two very credible community leaders who have been organizing in the Black community for years, calling on the Biden-Harris administration to step in and intervene. While we know the Department of Justice is currently investigating the Minneapolis Police Department. They're also currently investigating Louisville, where Breonna Taylor was shot and killed. It sounds like the people, Bobby, and you mentioned how important the people were, because it's the people who are putting elected officials into these positions. The people are asking the Biden-Harris administration to do more. And Representative Moran, thank you so much for broadening the issue, because it's not just about police accountability, it's about public safety. And so it's not just about the police department, it's about the county sheriff's department, it's about the U.S. Marshal Task Force, as we're seeing now, who is really behind the ball on transparency when it's 2021 and they're not even required to wear body cameras. You know, and so I'm just curious to know from you all. We've talked about the importance on a city and a state level, but at what point do we hold our federal, our national elected officials accountable to step in and provide remedies for some of these issues that are ultimately costing people their lives?
Well, I know here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I've talked to the police chief. I've interviewed him on my radio broadcast. We've talked about these issues right here concerning the police department. And I actually think that the training process needs to involve Black culture. They need to understand our culture. Because, for example, there was a young man down the street right in front of my radio station, and he got stopped by two police officers. And he says, "Hey man, what y'all stopping me for? Blah blah blah. What y'all doing? Blah, 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 blah." Our culture is different. Our culture is just different. So these police officers need some training. They need to take off those police uniforms, come over to the hood and get involved in the community and get to know the community and do some reform as far as the rules and regulations of that police department. We just got that police department chairperson, and he's a Black man. He's a Black man. So I'm telling him we have to have change. And like you said, body cameras need to be on. See, this has been happening for years. It's not just started. It's been going on for generations. Police brutality amongst Black people. They've been shooting and killing us for years. They're just getting caught on camera now. That's what's happening.
So, one first, I guess I want to say is that, you know, if any movement is going to happen, any change is going to happen, you know, we need to, folks from the community, regular everyday folks need to be holding, you know, whether it's the Biden-Harris administration accountable. I think he's been in office now for 6 months?
Yeah.
It's not easy, you know. It's so much that has to be done, that needs to be done, must be done. But yes, we need to do that. But I also want to call on us locally, because local politics is the most important politics right here where we live. This, you know, Winston Smith was murdered right here in the state of Minnesota. Right now in the Minnesota House, in the State House, in the House and the Senate, we are making decisions about our budget. We are talking about police accountability now. And I think the pressure needs to be locally happening right here in the state of Minnesota. We need to have good, strong reform here in the state of Minnesota. We need to have good, strong police accountability right here in the state of Minnesota. And so this is a people moment to hold us and get things done here in the state of Minnesota. So I just want to call us to do the work that we need to do right here in Minnesota. That is important too. You know, in 2020, our Minnesota Democratic-led House declared racism a public health crisis. That was House File 1 in the Minnesota House. From that, we passed that bill out off the floor, and we created a task force, a bipartisan task force that came together to look at racism in the state of Minnesota. And it's not just racism in health and human service, it's racism not in just the healthcare field, but in education, in housing, in environmental justice. It's across the transportation, across the gamut. We was able to do that. And we also did a report with more than 80 proposed solutions, bills that we feel that could move through this body that will make things more fair and equitable here in the state of Minnesota. When I became chair of Ways and Means, I said to each and every chair, you know, I'm here to support you, but I ask that any bills that comes into Ways and Means have to have a racial equity lens and investment into communities of color. That's what's the priority. Now that's a big statement, but this is what happens. Now was not able to come up with a budget on time. We're going into special session. And right now, the conversation that we're hearing, that the chairs are hearing in conference committee, one, Republicans are not showing up. Two, Republicans are stalling. And three, and probably most importantly should be number one, they have said to us, if we're going to negotiate, you cannot use the word equity at all in our conversations.
Wow.
Because that is a non-starter. It is a non-starter to use the word equity. We would not meet. We would not have no conversations. So there is work. Yes, call on the Biden-Harris, administration to do something federally. But there is so much work that we have to do locally, state by state by state by state.
Yeah.
And our community deserve that. We talk about, when we talk about the legacy of police killing, Black people, this is nothing new to us. There's a history that we defined in our committee when we talked about racism as a public health crisis, which is one of the hardest things that I have had to do in my 11 years as a legislature, because we did not want to just bring stats to the forefront and say, statistics says that, Black kids are suspended from school at 6 times the rate as whites, or Blacks are not getting jobs at blah, blah. We wanted to give them a history, because if we don't share our history and the history of America, the foundation of racism, with folks who can say, well, why are you talking about back then? We are now. Well, back then has impacted where we are today.
And I totally agree with that, what you're saying. Now, I really agree with that, because since the civil rights movement of the 60s, and I've been protesting and still protesting right to this day, it's always been a struggle amongst Black people. It's that David and Goliath kind of syndrome that we're going through, and it's always a struggle. I remember in 1972, one of my classmates got murdered and shot for struggling with the police, and he got killed even back then, and I just think that we have to do some reform with our police department. You guys are up there in Minnesota, we watched George Floyd die. We watched that man die, and now I'm saying to myself, could it be my son? My son, I got a younger sons. Could it be one of them? Could that happen someday? Here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which I consider one of the most racist states in the union, and I repeat that, one of the most racist states in the union, is totally red, Republican, Trump supporters everywhere. I live in a community here in Tulsa where there's 400,000 people in Tulsa, and there's only 65,000 Black people. That's all. And we have to fight and struggle. And out of the 65,000 Black people in District 1, where I live, where predominantly Black people, there are only 33,000 Black people. So then, and the rest of the Black people are spread out in white communities and things like that. I understand the fact that once a lot of Black people get $2 past bus fare, they feel like, hey, we didn't arrive. I got my house, I got my car, I got all this stuff. But we got some work to do amongst ourselves. In order to win a game, you have to practice and you have to get good at it. So our community's got to practice, and we got to get good to do what's necessary to be educated in our minds, to have some consciousness to go forward. So when we do elect our elected officials, we can be behind them, and they don't have to struggle so much, but they're going to struggle anyway, because we're systematically controlled by the system. And you got to change the narrative of the system. So
change the narrative.
You got to change that narrative of the system in order. How can you know how to go forward if you don't know where you come from?
That's
so
right.
We got to educate our people to get in place, to know who we are, and not just base everything off of our status of where we at in life, because a lot of times.
Well, I want to thank both of you for joining us
Yeah.
today, Ben. Also, thank you for looking to Minnesota for solutions, because I feel like, we're a year past George Floyd, and the national media is no longer looking here. But I do believe that the solution to public safety is going to come, as everyone has said, how important city and state politics are. I do believe that those solutions are going to come from exactly where the world acknowledged that the problem was, right? So thank you both for joining us, and Ben, thank you so much for having us.
No, thank you, and brother Bobby and Representative Moran, thank y'all so much. It was a pleasure meeting you and speaking with you.
Thank you so much. Yep.
Georgia, that is that story has some deep roots, and you can see how far back it goes for our two guests this morning.
Absolutely. I think even with, Bobby being in Tulsa, and we just commemorated the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa massacre, and Biden went there, and, he spoke there, but, it's broader than public safety, and there's so many parallels. And as you pointed out yesterday, patterns to the injustices that our community is constantly plagued with.
Yeah. Georgia, thanks so much. On the Clock with Georgia Fort. We always appreciate you.
Likewise. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. Coming up, folks, Like It or Not is coming up. We're going to take a few minutes to transition. And if I'm reading the DJ exclusive is in the house, we're going to let him set the tone as we shift gears. More Like It or Not, all of that coming up in a few minutes. David, pull up let me look in the chat. Oh, the question. He's holding out for a question. The question is, you know what? We're going to discuss this question from the audience in the next segment. And the question is, how do we address communities where apathy is overwhelming? How do we address communities, or how do we work with communities where the apathy is overwhelming? That's a question from Ginger Snip Snap. We'll address that on Like It or Not as it comes up. All right.
Good morning, people. Hope y'all are doing good this morning. Y'all stay tuned. Like It or Not is coming up.
Some people say money gets you everything, but it don't make me happy. It's not the reason my heart sings. It's what I've got. Couldn't put a price on that, 'cause I got something real. I got something real. I got love. I got love. I got love. I got love. Some people cool. Some people try to get tired. If you don't have a reason, it's hard to make it all worthwhile. 'Cause what I've got.
Good morning, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all come on and get situated. We'll get started here momentarily.
I got something real. I got something real. 'Cause I got love. I got love. I got love. I got love.
Boy, you had me from the start. By the way you stared, the way you wrote up on me, yeah.
Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Like It or Not is coming up. Y'all make sure that you stay tuned. And if you're not already, make sure that you follow Like It or Not on Instagram and Facebook at Like It or Not Show. Follow us Instagram and Facebook at Like It or Not Show. Y'all, good morning, good morning, good morning. Like It or Not is coming up. Make sure you stay tuned, y'all.
Baby, keep it right there. Don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up. We should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus. Don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you. Baby, don't you. Baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you. Baby, don't you. Baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Will you take me on a trip? Always up and down and back and forth in merry-go-round. I just wanna get it right. But when you go left, I'm stuck here feeling left behind. Cause something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're going different directions. Let's go where we were, when no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there. Don't you stress it slow. I'm trying to pick the pace up. You should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus. Don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you.
I'm gonna pack my bags up, walk out the door. I won't be back, you'll see me no more. No, no.
Good morning again, everyone. Make sure that you stay tuned. Like It or Not is coming up, y'all.
I'm gonna miss you, but I'll be gone. For me, there ain't no other. But you just couldn't be bothered. You never knew what love is about. It gets me 'cause there ain't no doubt. There is something about you. Thought I was nothing without you. You made me beg and you made me crawl. You played me and you made me fall for you. I'm sad but true. You're no good, still I'm loving you. But I made up my mind. I'm gonna pack my bags up, walk out the door. I won't be back, you'll see me no more. No, no. You better leave me alone. I miss you, but
Shoot the dragon, I know I find myself.
I don't know why, just know that I do.
Brother Tyler, good morning.
Please leave me alone.
Eric, good morning to you.
I'm gonna miss you, but I'll be gone. You know I don't wanna fight ya, but there is something about ya that makes me wanna scream and shout. You left me hanging down and out. I think you never leave me, but you cheated and deceived me. You never cared for me at all. You had me at your beck and call. It's true, I'm a sucker for you. You're no good, still I'm loving you. But I made up my mind. I'm gonna pack my bags, I'll walk out the door. I won't be back, you'll see me no more. No, no. You better leave me alone. I miss you, but
Just another sunny day in Southern California.
Good morning again, everyone. Make sure that you stay tuned, y'all. Like It or Not is coming up.
Don't let them transform you. Oh, come and see what you've been missing on a little slice of heaven. It's the only place we're living. It's that West Coast point of view. Easy when it's always summertime fun. You and I, everything to do. Who cares what the people think? It's been turning kind of gray in Southern California, but I'm in love. happened to euphoria? Oh, don't worry about it, don't worry about anything. I'm too excited, got liquor with the palm trees. It's all or nothing, ooh, it's all or nothing. Ignore the signs and socialize. Come and see what you've been missing on a little slice of heaven. It's the only place we're living. It's that West Coast point of view.
Tiger, I appreciate you. Good morning, Tiger.
You don't mean nothing to me. E-boys like you every dinner.
All
I
right,
don't
y'all.
believe
It's
what you
about that time.
preach.
It's about that time to get this show started. So shout out to everybody this morning.
That will make you
That is
a winner. I don't believe what I
11
see.
call. Make sure that you hit that
Are you wearing
patreon.com like it or not. Patreon.com
gold?
slash
You're
like it or not.
nothing
If
more
you
than
are not already a patron member, y'all,
silverware.
let's get it. Let's
Thinking you're
go.
so
It's time for like it or not.
bold, but all
It's
you are is
about to
unaware.
go down.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, people. I forgot I got two windows open, so I have like this super echo in my ear.
Oh. Hey, good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we are free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it. Mike is way over here.
Oh, we're going to give
Mike is far.
Rebecca be flying in from corporate America, just like
she does.
I'm here for my meeting, and then she flies right back in.
Like literally, like the helicopter lands right outside her window, right down the mountain, and she zip lines to her window.
Nah, bro, she teleport like
Wait, can you guys hear me, or are you guys just talking about me while you can hear me?
we can hear you now.
Okay, good, cool. That's fine.
One of us is lying. Which one of us is lying? I know. It could be me.
Oh Lord, how are you guys this morning?
Doing good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
My voice is I'm gonna lay back just a little because my voice is kicking my butt right now. So other than that, I'm doing good.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Saturday, you know what? Bump that. One of the days through the week, we're gonna roll up on Ben. We're gonna put him in one of our cars, and we're gonna take his ass to the doctor.
To the doctor.
Yeah.
Of course, boys. Look, me. I was thinking taking him to go smoke hookah, and that's not even good for the boys. See, I thought we were on like, oh yeah, look me. Yeah, we're gonna take him hostage.
So I guess that's the gambit. I guess that's it's either we'll I don't want to use my situation for that, but yeah, there's a game there to be had, but to go get hookah or go see a doctor. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Look, the doctor's gonna say hookah isn't that bad for you. But anywho, that's another story for another day. I honestly think that we should definitely meet up, Bubba, so that I can give you a hug and finally meet you, and then pull up to Ben's house, ask his wife for permission first, because we can't be pulling up like that. But pull up to Ben and then and free and release him from all energies that's trying to take his voice.
Oh, you saying you got to come lay anoint some windows and stuff?
Yes. Well, yeah, we got to come and lay hands, free and release and bind every spirit that's trying to take that voice, and then we take them out so we can use the voice when we shouting like, "Hey, go Ben, go Ben,
go Ben, go Ben."
Oh man, yeah. So All when this pandemic finally comes to an end. You know what's wild though? You two have never met each other.
We've never met each other, but that's my best friend. Hey, best friend.
Okay. That's my best friend. See you real back on the dance floor. She got 2 fat drinks.
hey. But you see, yeah, we never met. So
but isn't that something, the connectivity? You would think that the three of us grew up in the same neighborhood. Like we grew up in the same school, at least in the same state.
Possibly went to the same HBCU, but unfortunately you guys didn't go to FAM, but we went to sister and brother schools. So, you know.
Me and James don't even take the bait no more.
Being at all. Like, what school she talking about? Oh,
well,
okay.
Florida A&M University. But you're right, Ben. It's true. The connectivity that we've had, it's almost like MySpace days, or how old people use Facebook. I wouldn't say Instagram because Instagram is like, seen it, done it, whatever. But, you know, MySpace days, we were forced to connect with each other like best friends. I don't even know this person, and this person is in my top 10. Why? Because they drop love on my page every day. They post inspiring message, and we connect that way, and they'll write me and say, hey, I haven't seen you online in about 10 days. Where have you been? Hey, I haven't seen you update your page, you know, with new music. Where have you been? So yeah, like, and then you become best friends with somebody. I remember somebody on my Instagram, and y'all, this is a funny story. Look, it's always a story. It was Usher's little brother. And you know how those pages back in the day, you knew some pages were like not the real person or whatever.
Yeah.
This was actually Usher's little brother who became like my best friend in the online space on MySpace. Yeah, he was real. I like literally stalked him when I left MySpace, and it was a real person. And he was on my top 20 or my top 10 or whatever it was at the time. And he would literally just check. We would literally just talk through messaging. And at first I thought I was messaging an imposter, a liar. But turns out, yeah. So that was in my top 10. You know what? Now that I look back at it, what if it was an imposter that was using his page and hacked into it? But then he became my best friend. Well, shouts out to whoever you are. Even
you
if
sound like my neighbor. my wild ass neighbor, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Now, Jimmy gave me permission to tell this story. This man got 1,700 Russian bride friends on Facebook. Like, you know, and
but he knows those are
we
weirdos.
did the numbers game, and I'm like, but you don't think any of them are real, do you, Jimmy? And Jimmy's
but
like,
even if he wasn't real, I stopped.
No, but he's real cool with it. He's real cool. He's like, yeah, but if just 1% of them are real.
See? Jimmy, I'm with you. And even if 1% of them are real, and even if this was a hacker that just wanted to talk to somebody and hack a man's original page, because that's what the page was before they had verified pages, and hack that man's original. Even if that happened, hacker, you were my best friend.
So and even if you got conned, you're still glad you got
even
conned.
If they catfished me.
Okay.
Friendship.
And
it was a good experience.
Let me tell you why I'm against FAMU so much. Because I was catfish before catfishing was catfishing. Somebody on College Club. Y'all remember College Club?
Yes.
Yes. Somebody just told me I go to FAMU. I look like all this. They sent me this picture. I'm like, dang, they look good. I'm like, cool. So they supposed to meet up. They supposed to get on the bus to come to Daytona. I go to the bus station. I'm waiting. They ain't never show up. I'm like, you mother suckers. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, yo, what happened? Where you went? Like this, like a month later. He's like, I got something to tell you. What's wrong? I'm not what I look like. Okay. They sent the picture. So they said they look like the picture they sent looked like some Kappa man, light skin, muscles with abs. He ended up being two of me, black as hell with goals in his mouth.
And black as hell is beautiful. And I love a man with goals. And he should have presented himself. But you know, back in the day, though, Bubba, in that time, you had to present yourself as light skin, small, and those kind of things. And that's why.
And a Kappa.
And so yeah. in a Kappa, and
Listen,
and you know,
I ain't in no fraternity, so y'all not gonna sit here and get me in trouble with not none of them. I don't know. Listen, so don't come on here talking about light skinned Kappas and get me in trouble because I'll represent not the Benjamin Dixon part of like it or not. I leave that to y'all.
no, but that honestly, but Ben, you know, you saying that the innovate, it's what technology has caused me and Bubba to form a very great relationship. And even though I haven't met him in the physical, I'm happy to have met him at all. And so I can't wait to see you and give you a hug as well as you, Ben. I haven't seen you in a minute.
I made that connection.
You did. You made that connection, and that was a blessing. Yeah, and David, if you were here, because I know you're watching.
Right, David.
If you were here, and you're working in the background and you hear me, so if you were here, I would definitely give you some love too. And I know I like that we're connecting and finding out like personal stuff about each other, and like celebrating each other. I love that too, because I don't even know y'all. But I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I love that. And how's that? And you all right? Did you eat today? Like it's good. It's good.
Right.
Wow. Beautiful story.
Thank you.
No,
I want to start off with a little bit of positivity this morning.
I like that.
Yeah,
and, honestly,
go ahead, bro.
It's like I know Rebecca, what she said, with her and I, but like honestly, like with the rest of the community as well too. Man, it's some beautiful people.
Yeah,
that watch this show, man.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh my God, like Mark from Australia.
Yeah,
Mark.
That's our best friend. Letter Hack, who drew me randomly yesterday. And it's funny because now I got that same hair in today. He who drew me randomly yesterday. I was like, oh my gosh, like people actually, love me. People actually, accept me for who I am. And that's the best part of it. And the ones that don't, that's great too. But it's the ones that love us and treat us with, all kinds of respect. And especially you being new, Bubba, coming into the space, not knowing what to expect. And the people just were loving with open arms. Shouts out to B, our resident Karen, who can teach the rest of y'all. Shouts out to B with the banging, who actually was showing us some mad love yesterday. And I just, shout out. Me and her were talking about personal, like just having a drink, something personal. I'm like, that's my friend. She feel like she can hit me up. That's my friend. So yeah.
Y'all the digitals. Yeah, we're the digital to the analog side. I was thinking about the guests we had over with Georgia Fort, the elders. Like they were like, we've been going through this for a long time, y'all. And they were because sometimes you forget. We get so locked into the moment of what we're fighting and what we're working on that we forget that there was entire generations generations that's been dealing with this white terror that's been brought down on the Black community. Like it's what I was there's a guest, and I got to pull it out of my head, so I don't have all the details, and I'm going to fudge it, but I just want to go to the idea. There's a book that of a guest that we're going to bring on, who basically talks about the trauma of white supremacy and slavery is actually coded in our DNA. That's how deeply rooted the problems we have in this country are as it pertains to Black people.
Hey, look, they go Ben preaching. Yes, Ben. It goes deeper, and it goes from, like we always say, it transcends generations, which is really sad in a way. But at the same time, when it is sad in a way. But at the same time, look, because I was listening to a song. I was listening to a song today, and she said it was NDRE, and she said, "We come from people who did things that we would never have to endure." And are blessed to not have to endure. And then we're going to be the seeds for the next generation with the same kind of following. So with the same kind of pattern. And I was thinking about that to myself. I'm thinking about, damn, back in the day, all those people who were planting seeds for us to be able to walk into a store, and that was their MySpace, right? Their community. And they were like,
the little black book.
Right, and partnering with people and being like, yo, that white boy over there, the abolitionist, yeah, we bring him in. He'll be the assistant and the help. And those ancestors, it wasn't only our black ancestors, it was people who had good, because it's good white ancestors, but people who had good, actually white ancestors, real people, abolitionists, and who had a heart. We're not talking about those presidents that had one slave free. We're not talking about those people. I'm talking about we all have generations of people who have endured the white supremacy in some way, shape, or form, and have caused the community in the same instance to fight for something better. And there are people that didn't even know each other, that traveled, met another person, and was like, "Hey, let's help to make something bigger," right? And then sometimes they never even met the person, heard about the person, and the person would send the person to another person, and then that connection would form and garner something bigger and better. And I think because of people like back in the day, our ancestors, we get to do what we do now and appreciate it. And I'm so I love that. I love it.
Because that no, y'all really you piecing it together. Because how can we begrudge our elders when even if they didn't get it right the way we wanted them to have gotten it right? How could I be mad at my daddy when he did everything he had to do, work 3 jobs in order to give me what I had? How could we be mad at the previous generation because they didn't get what we needed done, accomplished? Look what they had to go through.
Yeah.
All right. We're in a minute. We're going to be joined by we have white friends of the show.
Our white friend of the show.
Our white friend of the show, Mary Angela Perna.
Oh, she gives.
She be bringing the tea.
She gives me like, oh, I'm packing. I'm strapped. Try it with me. Try it with me. Like that's what we give.
You know it'd be great if y'all don't. If my white guests don't mind if we refer to y'all as white friends of the show, because I think that's golden. Mary Angela, bring her up on screen.
Listen,
I hope that's not
fine. No, I love it. And by the way, Rebecca, 2 things. Your background, you're killing me. I'm jealous of that couch. I'm jealous of the top. When I feel jealousy, see, Rebecca, tell me if this is true. Women, we get really jealous of people's like kitchen sinks or counters, or like their couches.
The flowers. No? I'm like, dang, what kind of flower is that?
The background, right?
Yeah.
Do we not? Right.
Yeah.
I'm hard for me to focus on the topic at hand. Looking at your couch.
I'm like, girl, what about those drapes? Are those sheer drapes?
No. These are getting replaced by, I call blinds to go. I don't control how fast they come, but I didn't want you all to see like my, this you see the jealousy is happening.
I got it. We were in each other's backgrounds. I'm like,
by the way, if you want to get coffee, we'll do coffee.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Look, we'll do coffee.
Got it.
So Mary, I need you to take lead on this. I know you have some what's going on in the top tier politics that liberals worry about, right? And why is it that we should be concerned about it too, for those of us who are to the left of them? What's happening right now?
Well, we can't get universal health care. We can't get all the things that we say we want on the left until we figure out how to fight right-wing authoritarianism, which is once you study sort of I call it shorthanded, it's like Bannonism or like right-wing populism. I mean, he had,
and this is Steve Bannon.
Yeah, so when he got kicked out of the White House, right, he goes on this European fascist tour. And I really implore people to just Google Bannon, the EU, or go EU tour. He meets with Marie Le Pen. He's meeting with all the Viktor Orbáns of the world. He brought out Louis Gohmert, however he pronounces his damn last name, who, by the way, one of the heads of the Stop the Steal movement was talking with Louis Gohmert. So, like, do you see how they are all connected? And again, why it matters you know, it's one thing to do this inter-party Democrats versus like who's the most left, Bernie versus all that stuff. Though I would love if we could talk policy right and just focus only on policy. But we've got creeping fascism, period. And if we do not seriously, I'll be the Bannon whisperer if you all want it, because I watch it every day.
I can't
But
do it.
if you can't handle it, because sometimes I can't handle it, and I have to turn him off. But I've learned that most of his stuff doesn't come true. That's the good news. But he was 1,000% behind. Everyone talks about 1/6, the insurrection date. It was the post office in the summer. You remember the joy? Remember all that?
Yeah.
It was the lead up. It was the Hunter Biden laptop stuff. It was then after that, it was the Stop the Steal. He brought on every single person that is within the Trump inner circle. In fact, one of Trump's inner circle right now that still works for Trump used to be a co-host of the show. So it is vitally important that we understand that Stop the Steal movement, and they had rallies all during that whole lame duck period. And Bannon was talking about, okay, come 1/6 when he was teaching his huge audience about how basic civics class. He's not a dumb person. So he was explaining that, you have members of Congress that can object to 1/6. And but then he was doing conspiracy theories with like alternate electors and all this stuff. But why it matters now, look at all the voting. I know it's a family show, so I'm not going to swear. The voting shenanigans that are happening across the country. That's not Mary saying it. Go look.
Yeah.
And one of the ones that scares me the most is they actually want instead of the Secretary of State certifying an election, just and if it's within a margin of error, there can be recounts, but they'll have the state legislatures, which are the GOP now, they're all Trumpified. They've all been radicalized. So like QAnon, MAGA, Bannon, whatever you want to say. If that doesn't scare you, keep you up at night, that a GOP led that had been radicalized by Trumpism, all right, could say, oh, I think that there's, we got to talk to Sidney Powell and get like her thoughts, or Rudy and get his thoughts about if we should keep this election, hold it. This
Mary,
matters to all of us.
Mary, go ahead, Rebecca.
No.
Yeah.
Because I want to ask it. Just because we don't see them on TV doesn't mean they're not out there working just as hard to forward Trumpism and
every
Bannonism
day.
As they were when they were in the White House. That's what I'm hearing you saying.
Oh, even more so, I would say.
And so
even more so.
Now we're at the stage where we have a Republican Party that is 100% lockstep with Trumpism, even to the point where there's no negotiating with them because of the position that they put themselves in.
No, not at all. And what they're doing is like, how like on the left, there's a who's going to be like the Bernie type candidate, but it's for a completely different, let's not get it twisted, Steve Bannon or anyone over there. It's, we want progressive candidates in, correct. I've had many on my show. Right. But what they're doing, so their litmus test is whoever just thinks the election was stolen, or whether it's a Sidney Powell thing, or the late Italy Gate, or some documentary that the My Pillow guy put out. Someone like a Bannon is willing to use anything to
forward his agenda.
He's very transactional. He's a very well-read, smart person, but he will use any conspiracy theory to put out propaganda. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah,
he'll use anyone to put out propaganda.
And the problem I'm seeing on the left is the same problem I'm seeing with the Democratic Party. Right. They're not believing these people when they tell them who they Are. Steve Bannon is very clear about who He is. Joe Manchin is very clear about who he is. Mitch McConnell, matter of fact, we got a clip of Mitch McConnell. I don't know if you could which order you could sort them in, David. If you could just pull this one, that would be great. This is Mitch McConnell saying the days of bipartisanship were over. When were they ever here, Mitch McConnell? Let's watch that clip.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you look to what the majority leader has in mind for June, it's pretty clear the era of bipartisanship is over. We passed 6 bills so far this year, significant bills on a bipartisan basis. Bills that came out of committee that had buy-in from both sides. But I think that's coming to a screeching halt this month because the majority leader is starting with the so-called paycheck fairness bill late this afternoon, which is essentially a giveaway to the plaintiffs' lawyers in America, a series of totally partisan bills designed to get no Republican support. So it looks to me like majority leaders decided that June is kind of the check the box month with all of the extreme left-wing provisions that they support that have been coming out of the House. Hopefully we'll sober up after that and get back to doing work together as we have done for the first almost 6 months of this year.
Mary, I want to take this all the way up to Chuck Schumer, because what Mitch McConnell is doing here is he's saying that if you don't play our game, we're not going to play any game. And this is who they have been, though. So this isn't news to me or to the country that but it's the fact that it's an all or nothing game. Republicans are playing a zero-sum game, which they will destroy this country if they don't get their way.
Well, but here's I think the difference between Biden and Obama. And it was a different time. I mean, I really encourage people to look at the Tea Party, because it was the Tea Party wave of racism that made life a living hell for Obama. And I'm not making an excuse. I'm just talking about what happened. So you have a party that is post-truth, believes lies, and McConnell has made it very clear. He made it clear during the Obama, we are not going to give any wins to the Democrats. It doesn't matter if it was Hillary Clinton in there, if it was Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders would be dealing with the same problems. I mean, this is like a math issue. We're talking about how many people are in the civics class, how many people are in the House. Even to get rid of the filibuster, you still need 50 votes. Do you understand what I'm saying? So instead of focusing all our listen, Manchin is making me insane. I can't. I'm getting like IBS. I'm getting stomach issues over this. So I don't want to like make it seem like I'm like siding with Manchin or Sinema or anybody. What I'm saying is, Chuck Schumer does need to be a little more forceful. But it looks like Biden said, and this is the difference between Biden and Obama. Biden said, okay, we've tried working with you as of this was last night. This broke last night. We've tried working with you on the infrastructure. Let's just talk about the jobs plan, infrastructure. We've tried hours and hours of bringing you in to trying blah, blah, blah. And it's not happening. So we're going to do this on our own. That's what's happening now. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get the difference here? This isn't me making excuses for anyone. So now we have to just I guess, pray to God through reconciliation, right? That now we have to pray that Kirsten Sinema doesn't get her FU ring that she loves to wear and do Instagram pictures and her nonsense. I think she's more, in a way she drives me more crazy because she's in a purple state. She's in basically blue state at this point, where Manchin is a little more, he's in this Trumpian state. I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just talking reality here. So but then I have to ask you, do you guys want a majority leader, McConnell or Schumer? Who do you want?
No,
if we had no choice.
See, that's hard.
You see what I'm saying? So if Manchin gets pissed off enough, we don't know. Now, this is me completely, but I'm not saying to kiss up to him. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that we are in pure strategy right now, right? There's no third party. There's no nothing. Look, even Cheney, when Liz Cheney got, when she stood up for democracy for 2 seconds, there was talk of a third party Does that sound familiar on the left? Talks of third parties. We're in a two-party system. I've been saying this for years. Please, just be smart. It's about strategy, right? So are we going to spend our time, oh, we're going to do a third party, or we're going to do just like the Republicans I see them kind of doing the same, like the never Trump style Republicans kind of, I don't know. I just think that, Manchin, look, he's been voted as a Democrat. He's a blue dog Democrat and a conservative Democrat. He's in one of the reddest states in the country. Manchin's, Sinema, I don't know what she's doing. And look, we're going to see through this infrastructure situation, through this reconciliation phase. Hey, Manchin, where do you want it? What do you want your legacy to be? Would be my question to him. Which I'm sure he met with a lot of leaders for civil rights yesterday. I don't know. I mean, again, I think that he ended up voting for the rescue plan. Okay, he did a lot of posturing, if you remember all that, but he did end up, and so did Sinema. I'm praying that that's what we can. And don't even get me started on the voting, because my stomach is twisting. So I don't know. What do you think? I mean, where do we? But I will say this: a good use of our time is not sitting here. Somebody said on Twitter yesterday, and I thought this was great. And I looked at this person's bio, and they've worked on a lot of campaigns. That if we had more Democrats in the Senate, Manchin could kiss my ass. You know what I mean? It'd be like he wouldn't be, and we wouldn't be talking about him right now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, but it's almost like it's hard to choose, right? Because even though Manchin met with the civil rights leaders yesterday, it was a lot of talks that he didn't even seem swayed with the voting or anything of that sort. So that's what kind of took me. It's like you're already. Both him and Sinema have been in hot water for things that they've done, but they're in our party, right? So it's like, what do we do in this case? And I don't
know.
I know it's like I don't know. It's like the more we call them out, it's like the more they just do worse. The more that they do worse, but we'll continue to call them out because that's all we can do.
That's all we can do.
Yeah, and highlight what they're doing wrong, and just hope that they kind of get it together. Because hopefully, when the time comes for their seats to be filled, they will not be in them. Because we're going to remember all of these things that they've done. But right now, in this particular time, I would hope that they do better. And it sucks because they've just been so nasty to the people.
Well, I mean, here's what gives me a little bit. So I listened to a show with Harry Reid. Now, Harry Reid used to be in the Chuck Schumer spot, and he's retired. And Harry Reid is actually, he wants to abolish the filibuster. He's pretty progressive, actually. And Bernie Sanders' former campaign manager used to work for Harry Reid, just to give you guys a sense. So Harry Reid said he thinks at the end of the day, Manchin's going to do the right thing. Yeah. I mean, that case, I'm looking for hope wherever I can find it. Right?
I don't know, Mary, because I'm glad that you're hopeful. I'm glad.
Listen, what else can we? But as I go on, can I ask you a question, Rebecca and Ben, and all you guys? I mean, I find that this doom and gloom thing I'm seeing all over Twitter, it's not making me feel motivated.
Yeah,
it's not.
That. I get it.
It's not. What makes me feel motivated are people like, no, we're going to figure it out. We're going to, even if with all this voting nonsense, we'll figure out ways to work around. We're going to work around it. We're going to figure it out like that. I get much more inspired and much more like, no, we will figure something out.
Yeah.
But the doom and gloom to me doesn't work. That doesn't mean that you don't stay on top of things and you don't stay informed.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And staying informed, finding the light in it. And, even though we're calling them out, we're finding ways where we can still have our voices, still fight for what's right, and not focus on the negative. I think that's very important.
I gotta say this, Bannon and crew, I just shorthand this faction to that. They're playing for keeps. They really
do the same.
They're all connected.
Yeah.
All of them, whether it was the Stop the Steal people, whether now it's this audit nonsense. They're going after. They brought state senators from Pennsylvania and Georgia to Arizona. That this is how it's done. This is really undermining faith in elections. People come, we need people to come out to vote, in such huge numbers that it's going to override their nonsense, right?
Yes.
So that's why we all need to care about this.
I see what you're saying. I definitely see what you're saying. So it's to stay empowered, right? Even though to stay empowered in the moment, let these things enlighten us to continue to work and gather and do things that we've already seen that we can do for the Democratic Party, because
right.
Yeah, because the right is going, they know how to get things done and things like that. But the more that we see it, the more we call it out, but the more that we join together instead of just, like you said, being in doom and gloom, we can get something done.
And one more thing, state ledge matters.
Yeah.
Now we see it, right?
Yeah.
So towards the end of like the first year or two that I was doing the show, I bring candidates on all the time, and I started to bring on candidates from the state ledge. But I'm like from the New York City area, so like I had like Julie Salazar on. Really?
Your accent, I love.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I'm originally from Detroit, so But anyway, so I had on Julie Salazar. I had on my mind is blanking, but anyway, but mostly New York City, because I just know that area so well.
Yeah.
And I was beginning to see I need to do way more state ledge, because it really does matter. Because as we're seeing now in our system, elections are on the state level.
Yeah.
Look what's happening with these GOP candidates who are now radicalized, but either they really mean it, or they're so scared of Trumpism that they're gonna out Trump their competitor in a primary. You understand what I mean? So they're so afraid of this base. I call it the InfoWars base that he, deliberately went after, and I saw that in 2015. That the litmus test, again, I'm going to repeat, is to believe in the big lie, believe in voter fraud, all this lunacy, QAnon, whatever. That's on this. They're using the big lie to do unbelievable things with basic voting, including things that really hasn't happened before. Like a Secretary of State's not going to be able to certify an election, and you want you trust a GOP-led state house to make that decision? We should all be terrified by that.
And that's why exactly we should all be terrified by that enough to stay empowered to get the job done. Thank you so much, Mary Angela Perna.
Thank you, guys.
From Lush Left Media. We're going to have you again. You're our white best friend on the show. So love you, girl. I hope you have a good day. Bubba, take us to break, play some good music, and we'll be right back with more Like It or Not after this.
Yes, y'all. Like It or Not show going down. We're going to get these new patrons read off real quick before we get into that music. So real quick, new patrons for yesterday, y'all. Make sure that if you have not joined Patreon, that you join immediately. We need you, ladies and gentlemen, to join Patreon. Join Patreon. Become a member. We did it, Joe. We did it. Anywho, y'all, new members, we have Marvin P. increased their pledge, Leslie Z. We have Miss Config, who subscribed with Twitch, Alban Joy subscribed with Prime, Sammy Lane, the Kind Dragon resubscribed, J.N. Lee 1981 gifted 1 subscription to Snatch for Gods. Come on, Snatch for Gods. The Chicken Fried Dragon gifted 3 subscriptions to K7 Bones, Action Jackson, and Game Set John. Hey, we appreciate y'all. We thank y'all so much. Make sure, if you have not, you join patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/like it or not, y'all. It's the Like It or Not show. Y'all stay tuned. We're coming right back.
I'm a little bit naughty. I'm a little bit too consumed, but every part of my body is telling me to run away from you. Come a little bit closer, yeah. Come a little bit closer, yeah.
Thank you so much, Mary, for joining us this morning. We appreciate you, Mary, always.
What's love got to do with it? He comes around, better knock that stuff down. Come a little bit closer, yeah. Come a little bit closer.
Good morning, Mom and Daddy. Love you, love you, love you. Gail, good morning. Shout out to Afraid Not, Justin, Smart S. Hey, shout out to everybody that's streaming from Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're streaming from, y'all. We appreciate y'all. Make sure that you hit that like button, like it or not.
You're a little bit selfish.
Esther, good morning.
Every time you lose, you can't take me with you. I'm scared you're gonna blow your fuse. Come a little bit closer. Yeah, I can really start over. Yeah, in the back of my mind, there's someone waiting on me. You're just wasting my time because you're scared and lonely. Finally got some closure.
But I'll tell you, this girl is singing.
I can finally start over. Yeah. So all my ladies who got a brother that doesn't treat them right, put your finger right in his face.
Big Dragon Daddy, good morning. That is too hard.
I'm too fly. Bye
Brother
bye.
Latrice, what's going on? Shout out to Brother Bryce.
Bye bye.
Look,
Here's to memories. She's too used to be. Your friend said that you left me. I'm glad that's what you believe. All my ladies who got a brother that doesn't treat them right, put your finger right in his face and tell that man bye-bye. I'm too fly. I'm too fly. Oh, bye-bye, bye-bye. U-G-F-I, that's how you spell goodbye. U-G-F-I, you'll never see me cry. U-G-F-I, that's how you spell it. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.
She look good. You ain't gotta stand in the mirror with your makeup on, cause you know that take way too long. I just want that right now, girl, you over outside.
All right, y'all, make sure that you stay tuned. We got more like it than that coming up next, y'all. Make sure that you stay tuned. If you're not already, follow our Instagram and Facebook at Like It or Not Show. Instagram and Facebook at Like It or Not Show, y'all. Let's go.
Don't keep it away. Girl, it's been too long. You know what I've been craving. Girl, I'm tryna taste it. You know what I like. Wanna get freaky in the night. When she hit the room, you know it's on sight. And she all of my type. And you know I don't like to wait, no. But she look good. You ain't gotta stand in the mirror with your makeup on, cause you know that take way too long. I just want that right now. Girl, you over outside. I can't wait just to get this on. You want it right now. Want it right now. Don't take too long. You want it right now. Want it right now, don't take too long. Girl, don't take too long. I've been waiting on you to pull up. Girl, I know you got a member, he can stay at home. He don't need to be around when I'm taking you down. Damn, that drink too strong. We can roll up. Now, baby, just hold up. Say you got a friend, bring it in. We can do what you wanna. I know you need it. To sound conceited, but girl, I come picture. I don't wanna wake you up, no. She look good. You ain't gotta stand in the mirror with your makeup on, cause you know that take way too long. I just want that right now, girl, you over outside. I can't wait just to get this on. You want it right now. Want it right now. Don't take too long. You want it right now. Want it right now. Don't take too long.
It was just a misunderstanding. You waited in the rain for hours, and I couldn't say the right things. No, I checked your number twice, then I went home. But I wanna let you know that, yeah, everything about you makes me smile. I wanna be your best friend, your best friend. I wanna be around you all the time. You don't understand, you don't need to worry. I meant everything I said, you don't have to search no more. Love is all around, so baby, what's your hurry? You don't have to prove us to anyone. You don't need to worry. Cool down, love, so bad.
You see me, Kayla. I try to do what I can. Shout out to brother Goku. Chair game is very safe and afraid not. Yes, it is.
And I want you to meet my parents. Yeah. Now I'm including you in my whole world. With you, I'm so transparent.
All right, y'all, if they're ready, welcome back to the screen. Rebecca and Ben.
Now I wanna let you know everything about you makes me smile.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Because I'm telling y'all, I don't be looking at the screen. So, like, it's hard for me to do like I used to do with this new format. So I don't be looking at the screen. Thought we were on screen talking all that time. Then heard that hard cut. Didn't know what was happening. But we here now.
And then I got to remember that I have to mute my channel on here so I can hear my music. Because if not, it's like all off. I'm just like, and my head can't handle it. So I didn't even hear y'all talking.
Didn't hear a thing. I thought that's why I was like, "Where's everyone? I can't see. Where is that damn? Where's that tab?"
Right.
Listen,
brother Ben, you okay over there, Ben?
Not really, man. I'm good. I just need to not talk too much.
He has like he's having his vocal cords again. This is my thing, man. You do a lot of talking, throughout the day, throughout the morning. I don't think the ice itself is doing anything for you. I think it's time to do another visit to the doctor because I think you're wearing your vocal cords thin, so it may be something you should probably check in further with. I mean, you're vaxxed, not waxed, but you're vaxxed. I'm about to say you're waxed and vaxxed, but that's me. But you need to definitely take your vax. Are you waxed and vaxxed? You need to take your vaccinated self to the doctor and see what's going on because we need that golden voice, right? Because when
the community is concerned.
They're concerned.
I'm concerned my damn self.
They're concerned because Ben wasn't interjecting in the last conversation. They like Ben. They're like Ben. It's Ben because Mary is going and Ben is letting Mary fly. Okay, Ben is letting Mary fly. Ben, and here go me. Right, Mary. It's hard for me to play double dutch. Okay, it's hard for me to go ahead and get that. So but we need that voice, Ben. Make sure that you handle business for your voice, so that means that I'm hijacking, right? I'm taking over, and y'all gonna love it. So y'all gonna have to live with it and love it. Now, since it is, I know we were talking about, and this may have to be, this is just, I'm gonna just do an audible. All right, David. There's actually a story that goes with the stories that we were talking about earlier, how, innovation, how innovative it's been for us to connect in this space, even though we aren't physically together. And I say that because I know a lot of jobs are asking a lot of people to go back into work right now, because for them, the pandemic is pretty much over. But the pandemic isn't really over. Now, a lot of people have not chose to get vaccinated because of whatever reason. And so many people are vaccinated, but even though it shouldn't be a reason to be forced to go into the workplace, the people that are starting that conversation are none other than millennials and Generation Z. They are saying that staying at home is actually better for our mental space, instead of going into the workplace. There was a woman named Portia Twit who took to social media to discuss her 6-minute meeting, right? Her 6-minute meeting that could have been an email. And I say this because they were forcing her name is Portia Twit. Once again, she was showing that the pandemic was reshaping how remote work has helped us really be in our spaces, still be productive in those spaces, and still get work done and help these corporations make a lot of money. But it's almost like being in jail when she was saying the boomers, who are our bosses, wanted to watch and see what everything that we were doing. So they were saying to Portia that, hey, since y'all want to stay home, y'all can stay home. But when there's meetings, you have to come into the office. Can we work that out? Of course, everyone said yes. But Portia ended up going to the office for a 6-minute meeting, and that was almost every week. She had to put her kids into some kind of daycare, find some help for watching them, get dressed. Y'all know how it is when we used to get dressed 2 hours early before work, get ready, try to get ourselves mentally okay, rush out the house, get to the office, hurry up and get into the meeting, only for it to be 6 minutes long. 6 minutes long, and send them back home. She took to social media, which I absolutely love. And she stirred a conversation about it. And I think it's absolutely the biggest conversation on CNN. She said, these people want us to stay in and say that we're not productive because they can't watch us and see what we're doing. But during the pandemic, so many corporations have made so much money from us being at home and being productive. It's not that we're not being productive. It's because we're finding time to take breathers and still make money for these companies. They want us to be constant on a hamster wheel for them. They want us to be their robots. They want us not to be okay with having a healthy work-life balance. Because if you're not working hard and if you're not overworking yourself, you're not working. It's that idea of when you sleep, when you're dead, you work for me until you've overworked yourself and you can't give to your family. And that hustle mentality is exactly what you need to grow.
Right.
No, we can work remotely. You guys said that we couldn't, and we actually can. And Generation Z and millennials are actually taking this opportunity in time. If they're forced to go into the building, they're quitting their jobs. They'd rather quit and take their mental health seriously. So I say all that to say, shout out to Portia Twit, because she took it from all these articles. She took it locally and she got onto CNN and expanded the conversation. So with all of us, I know that we've all worked in that space of corporate, right? And I know right now, Bubba, you're actually in corporate right now. Have they told you to come back into the office? And if they have, are you comfortable going back in?
Rebecca, they've been trying to get me back in that office for the past 2 months.
Yeah, and you have a leadership position as well.
Yeah, I am like one of the managers, but I'm just like, I can do my job from home. There's nobody in that building, and even though I'm vaccinated, I don't see the point of me going back up there.
Yeah,
I don't.
And do you think that being home, working remotely, has made you less productive, or do you feel like it's helping with your mental space while being productive for these companies?
You know, it's a little bit of both, especially because we already were working from home like a couple of days out of the week. So with me, that balance is there. So now it's just like being home full time. That balance is like, all right, so it's keeping the peace from work, because I tell you, it's been a few days. Work has just been, man, I can't take this. And I'm ready to throw this laptop across the room. And other days it's been like, oh, okay, there's nothing going on right now. Yeah. So it's like, it is a good balance. And I don't see why y'all need to feel that y'all need to watch me. If these calls are getting answered, these reports are getting done, everything gets done what it needs to do, why I need to be in office.
And yeah, she said specifically, right? And this is what I love. She said they feel like we're not working if they can't see us. And it's a boomer power play. It is definitely a boomer power play.
It definitely is.
It definitely is. So a survey online by FlexWork found that 58% of respondents said that they would absolutely look for a new job if they weren't allowed to continue working from home. Okay, cost savings and not having to commute were the top 2 benefits of remote work. Yes, it literally saves our costs. It literally saves us the time. And it also is our mental health. 58% of the respondents were mostly millennials and Generation Z. They asked the boomers. They said about 38% of them said, you know what? I think that I'm not quitting my job. The work is the work. And that mentality, I say, is ridiculous, because we're moving in a different way. It's innovative right now. As much as there are parts of me that don't like the way, social media and things like that have shaped some of our thinking.
Yeah.
This innovation that we have right now, which is working virtually, is helping a lot of us save our families, save ourselves, and not be in this whole green monster of a corporation building where you can't even see outside or light for 5 hours of the day. And what they do is they let you go outside to play for a second or two, right? They let you go outside to play and to go and eat and to come back and or to take your 15, to take a breather, to call your kids. They think that lifestyle is okay, but now that we found out that all was a lie, and we found out that we can be home and we can be all right, now they're saying that we're not being productive enough, we're not hard workers, we're not pushing for better for ourselves, and that's where the lie is. So shouts out to Port to Twit once again. We working from home, we working remotely, okay? But that's what we doing all season long.
Right, Rebecca.
Yes.
Working is ghetto. Do you know working is just high school for grown-ups?
Yeah.
Like, really, you just said it. I'm just like, what the hell?
It definitely
Wait a minute.
They
give me a lunch break.
Yeah. Recess. It's recess.
Recess.
Yeah. It definitely is. It's like we're children and they want that full control of us at all times. And that's how these corporations are. And these corporations cannot afford to lose us right now. Because if they lose us, I'm going on unemployment and I'm gonna make my extra money. So that's
that part.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. And I hope that you are too. Everybody who's watching, I know that those people we've already talked about being in those corporations and things like that. If you have the option, because I don't have the option to quit. I wish I did. I don't have the option to quit, but if I did, I would have definitely took the opportunity to step away. And if I got the PPP loan, I would step away and do things in my life, and definitely leave it. But I love that conversation is being had. It's very important for a lot of people to hear and be a part of that conversation. So, there is another story that I want to cover, and this is outside the political space. I know this is a story about Jeff Bezos, who's stepping down from Amazon. I know that we've covered him, a lot of things that have been going on with his workers and them not getting paid enough, and the strikes that have been happening. I think that's surrounding his idea for stepping down, which he will be doing soon. But Jeff Bezos is planning on taking a trip to space. Y'all, as he can do that. He'll be flying to space on the first crewed flight of the New Shepard, which is the rocket ship made by his space company. He just made a space company, y'all. He just has a space company out of nowhere. It's called Blue Origin. The flight is scheduled for July 20th, and that's just 15 days after he is set to resign as CEO of Amazon. Blue Origin said Bezos' younger brother, Mark Bezos, will also join in on the flight, saying, quote, "Ever since I was 5 years old, I've dreamed of traveling to space," Bezos said. And he said this in a Monday Morning Post on Instagram. He said, "On July 20th, I will take that journey with my brother, the greatest adventure with my best friend." Listen, here's the thing, guys. With Jeff Bezos being one of the richest people in the world, his net worth of $187 billion. He's a billionaire. He can literally decide, after a lot of the drama that's been surrounding his company, to step down and just say, "I'm going into space." There are so many people who are hungry in this world, right? This is what I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. There are so many people who are hungry in this world. So many people who ain't fed. So many people who can't sleep at night. So many people who can't do things. This man has created a space program. He's created a shuttle,
a whole space program
for him and his brother to go to space. And I'm like, I don't see the point of it, right? And let me tell you something. He said he's gonna go up, come back, and then prepare to create voyages for other people to take. Listen to this. It almost sounds like a movie where they're taking the rich only, finding out where they can live because remember, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Okay? And it's like they'll take all the rich, take them, go up into wherever they're going, and we'll be the ones left behind, right? That's how I feel like it could possibly be. Jeff Bezos has a lot to answer for. Jeff Bezos has a lot of people that he's hurt, but he ain't worried about any of that. He's worried about taking a space shuttle off into space. And that's where I'm like, can we talk about the financial part of it? how much it costs to do all of that. It's our hard-earned Amazon Prime money.
Damn.
Going into this, our hard-earned Amazon Prime money, where we getting, our 2-day packages that's assisting in just having this man step down for reasons unknown and just decide to take a trip into space, y'all, while the world is literally burning. Our worlds are literally burning.
So this is how we get our packages so quick? You've been designing this technology for the longest? What the hell?
Yeah,
you don't wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm going to space. Yeah. I mean, this man has been working on this for years.
Yeah. And he's rich. So he can wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm going to space. Right. While we can wake up and say, you know what? I got to go to the office, even though I don't want to go while I'm vaccinated. I got to get up and go to work because I got to make $1. While this man just says, I'm stepping down as CEO of Amazon and I'm going to space. Like, there's no, like, these billionaires, we got to eat the rich, people. We have to eat the rich. I think that's really where I'm at with it. I just seeing this happen is a good point of people doing nothing with their money while so many people in this world are dying. So many people in this world are hungry. If you go up and down Atlanta, there's homelessness like nobody's business. And this man is going up to space for fun. This man is going up to space for fun. So
I don't see this ending well. I mean, I don't wish that on nobody, but I don't see this ending well. You just can't up and just fly yourself into space.
No, yes.
I just don't see it ending
Apparently, you can absolutely do that. Apparently, you can absolutely do that. So, with that being said, we're going to definitely take a quick break right now. And we'll be right back with more Like It or Not after this. Bubba, give us something good to play.
I got you. Like, dang, boy, Rebecca went that quick. Y'all make sure that y'all hit that like button. Y'all hit that like button. Hit that like button, y'all. It's Like It or Not. Y'all make sure you stay tuned.
For hours, and I couldn't say the right things. No,
and Chuck Diesel, brother, thank you for your super chat.
I wanna let you know that, yeah, everything about you makes me smile. I wanna be your best friend, your best friend. I wanna be around you all the time. You don't understand, you don't need to worry. I meant everything I said, you don't have to search no more. Love is all around, so baby, what's your hurry?
That's right. You are seeing two of me.
You don't have to prove us to anyone. You don't need to worry. Go down, love, seven. Go down, love, honey.
We know, David. I'm not like David. We don't fire you all the time, okay?
Go down, seven, give it love.
I'm David, John. David is doing this damn thing. Yeah, I mean, we appreciate you, David.
And I want you to meet my parents. Yeah. Now I'm including you in my whole world. With you, I'm so transparent. You tear down every
No human is thank you for your super chat.
Now I wanna let you know that.
With Sean Metlock, you can hit me up on Twitter, DJ X3C, slide me a DM and see what you got. That make sure that it's copyright free, non-copyright music only.
I wanna be around you all the time. You don't understand, you don't need to worry. I mean everything I said, you don't have to search no more.
Let's see, Chicken Fried Dragon said, you know that dude has a creepy hairless cat that he's making up with. Wow.
You don't need to worry.
So the cat looks like him.
Tell me what it is that you want from me. What you want from me. Tell
me what it is, don't tell me what it ain't. They try to throw us hard, it just made the pressure raise. Going through a phase, gotta get myself out it. Don't talk about it, boy, they said you gotta be about it. So I be trying to face the world head on. Front seat riding, cruising down the meadows. Pedal to the meadow, cool breeze blowing down the windows. Palm trees, blowing trees, get that boy some headroom. On the interstate in traffic, but I swerve. I was supposed to move for the night, what's the word? Now, what's the link to me up, you go now. I got hella pieces, she got hella features. She me hella geeked up, she be throwing shit up. She for homie loud, hope them boys don't creep up. I don't know a thing if you do not speak up. In my own world, I don't try to kill. Tell me what you want. Don't be trying to front like I ain't what you want. I ain't here to stun, let me take you out for lunch. I'ma get you drunk, yeah, filling on your buns. Licks in the blunt, I got ash in my cup. All these girls showing up, but
Alright, y'all, make sure y'all make sure that you hit that like button. Y'all hit that like button so you know when like I'm not going now. And subscribe, y'all, okay?
And I'm feeling high, I can't deny it. She a bad joint named Maya. And when I seen her, man, she looked fire. She got me feeling higher than a sour. So I'm trying to feel high, feel inside her. I asked her what she doing, she like nada. So she just chillin', about to get up in the shower. I said, alright, cool, I'ma be there in an hour. I just wanna live like a Kuna and Matata. I ain't got no time for no baby mama drama. All about my comments, my letters, no tomatoes. Always bragging what they got up in they wallet. Ain't no really telling if we let her see tomorrow. Get it on my own, I ain't really trying to bar. So I stay fly, gotta dress up in designer.
It's a throwback for y'all.
Tell me what it is.
Telling me I'm crazy, trying to prove me wrong in every fight.
Tell me what it is.
Knowing that I'm right, why you trying to wreck me? Always wanna check me, wanna call me out in front of friends. Careful where you tread before this ends. You love me and I love you, but butting heads is what we
1984,
do.
thank you for your super chat. Said love that you said that, Rebecca, because that was the leader of my 9 to 5. I hear that. I am actively looking for a way. Excuse me, and I have no way, and it's called Like It or Not. You too become Patreon like it or not.com. Patreon.com/like it or not. Help Rebecca and give us and leave our corporate jobs, y'all. We would really love to use y'all full time, man. But hey, we need you. Your support helps out a whole lot. Patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/like it or not. Make sure that y'all hit that like button, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff, y'all.
You love me and I love you. Why can't we just match the two? Why we get so mean? Like the match I'm kerosene.
Y'all, welcome back to the screen. My sister from another Mr. Rebecca.
Rebecca. Is that Medea? Is that your Medea impersonation?
Huh?
Is that your Medea impersonation?
Right, Rebecca.
Medea is actually coming straight to Netflix if anybody cares, because I'm not really, I'm not really into that. But Medea is definitely coming to Netflix. A side note. Hey,
he about to make that big money.
Huge. And even if it ain't even funny no more, it's still a coin. But
okay.
Because Tyler Perry is a GOAT. I wish I had that. Like, that's Jeff Bezos for the Black community.
Like, I wish I'm in that community where his studio is.
Yeah.
Like, can I just go knock on the thing? Like, hey, can I get a job? No.
Wow.
Okay, cool.
So you can see Tyler Perry Studios and all the acres and all that good stuff.
Yeah, literally, it's like it's not far away at all.
Oh, look! So he got it in the hood.
Huh?
So he got it in the hood. That's me saying that you live in the hood, Bubba.
I know this. I was
you was like, huh? What?
We all can't stay in the mountains and stuff.
Listen, okay, so look, okay, David is telling me to adjust my mic. Gotcha. I got you. Is that better? Is that good? Listen. So
no,
let's get into some politics while Brother Ben is resting his throat. Listen, so there's been a lot when it comes to education, and we've been discussing that pushing the truth is what matters, and the truth may hurt a lot of white people and force white tears and white action, which is usually led in what? White supremacist systemic things. So Texas Governor Abbott, everybody knows Mr. Abbott. He signed counter critical race theory law. And this is a quote from the Governor Abbott's Twitter. He said, "To keep Texas the best state in the nation, we can never forget why our state is so exceptional." He said, "I signed a law establishing the 1836 Project," sounds pretty racist to me, "which promotes patriotic education and ensures future generations understand Texas values. Together, we'll keep our rich history alive." What I hear is, together, we'll keep our racist, rich, no reparations for Black folks, history alive. And so this right here is very problematic because it's going to, Texas is just a problematic state for me. It just really is. It just really is, because they have the governor, they have the mayor, everyone wrapped in a lot of, they're doing 6 jobs to prevent people from learning what the history really is of Texas, or from their children learning the history of just the actual history of racism, the actual history of the fact that Christopher Columbus didn't found the Americas. He's afraid, and they're afraid of making America what it once was before it was colonized. And that's free. And that's, we're not free. No one here is free, but they only want white folks to be free. So if we continue to mold and mend the minds of our younger generation to keep them in a state where they don't know any information about the truth that, or the lies that our former teachers told us, then it's going to keep us breeding and creating little white supremacists in schools. And those are going to be our doctors and our lawyers. Those are going to be our mailmen. Those are going to be our neighbors. Those are going to be the people that sell us homes. Those are going to be, and it's going to continuously be problematic. So what Governor Abbott is doing is an issue. And I know you said you had a clip for us to roll, David, where it comes to an argument about this whole situation. Let's take a look.
Going to go through this one element at a time. The first element is, why should teachers not be compelled to talk about what is happening? How can teachers talk about the insurrection or ignore it? Don't teachers lose credibility if they see an insurrection, but the teachers are not compelled to discuss what is happening at the Capitol or give context to what is happening in the country? We'll get to the second element of how they do that, but shouldn't they be compelled to at least teach what is happening in the world or give some information about what's happening in the world around them?
But that's the problem is you guys, the left, you are the left, CNN is the left. You guys have completely lost.
Sir, that is a lazy argument. Just answer the question.
It's not a lazy argument. It's clear. It's clear.
Just answer the question. Why shouldn't teachers be compelled to teach what is happening in the world at the time?
Whether it's what happened January 6th or whether it's what happened in Portland, Oregon, CNN does so from a slanted, canted view towards Marxism. And
your bill does not address CNN. There's not a student in Texas who is going to learn anything more about you slamming CNN. Answer the question, why shouldn't teachers be compelled to teach about the widely debated issues of the day?
They can't be compelled to teach it from a leftist point of view. If they would like to teach it, second paragraph, a teacher who chooses to discuss these topics must do so from a diverse and contending perspective without showing deference to any one perspective.
Get to the second element of how they
pause it real quick. Pause it right here real quick. So here's where I love how he framed that. He's saying why, because this is the bill's author, and it's basically, he's saying, why are we not wanting to teach our children? What is the problem with letting them know what happened in history? What people did on January 6th? Why is it not important for us to discuss that, to tell our children what happened? When we teach them about slavery, when we teach them the lies that Christopher Columbus founded this and that, this is us brushing it under the rug. And he's challenging. And he said, listen, and the first thing that he does is point the finger to the left.
Yep.
And say, and point the finger to media. And that's not what the conversation about. The conversation is, hey, why is it not important for our kids to actually know what's happening, what has happened, what literally just happened? Because that will now be history. That will forever be a part of America's history, that they went up to the Capitol and literally did a whole terrorist attack on the Capitol in the name of Donald Trump. Why is it not important for us to teach our kids? And I'll tell you why it's not important for us to teach our kids that, because it helps us mold and frame the false narrative of America and what it stands for. And that's to be free, the land of the free, land of the brave, the melting pot, the one where all immigrants have a place to come and stay. And that, to me, is the biggest problem. So.
Yeah, agreed. And then you saw how he broke it down. It made sense. The reason is it's kind of mind-boggling, mind-blowing, because you said on the clip, like, they don't want to talk in a leftist way. In other words, you don't want African Americans, or you don't want the heritage, the history that came up. You don't want to talk from the perspective from our perspective. Let's be honest.
Period.
You don't want to talk from a black perspective. Yeah. That's what the issue is. Why not just not say that? You know what I'm saying? And I hate when the politicians get into doing stuff like that, because you're sugarcoating everything. God dang it, say what you mean. You being a man trying to put these bills out there, say what you mean and say what you feel. Like, don't sugarcoat shit. And it kind of annoys me, and I hate it. And that's why I don't get into politics that much, because y'all are trying to use these big fancy ass words, that stuff that people like myself may not understand, but it's in black and white. You don't want to teach it because y'all don't want to be known as the instigators or the people that messed America up, and let it be known that we built this damn country. That's all that is.
And that, to me, is, look, that's been saying cruelty is the point. Okay, now that's exactly what I got from there. No, that's everything, Bubba. You said it, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said they don't want their history. They don't want our history to be shown, and they don't want it to be us at the forefront of it all. They don't want to be viewed. They don't want our viewpoints in history. They do not want the pain and suffering. They don't want the fight that we did back on them. They don't want us calling them out. They don't want us holding the mirror to their face to be a part of their history at all. And the CNN anchor had a little bit more to say. I want to play it some more till we get to the end, because I think it gets especially important to see how the bill creator is going to fight on behalf of white supremacy. Let's take a look.
Issues of the day.
They can't be compelled to teach it from a leftist point of view. If they would like to teach it from a leftist point of view, if they would like to teach it, second paragraph, a teacher who chooses to discuss these topics must do so from a diverse and contending perspective without showing deference to any one perspective. But that's not good enough for you. As you question me right now, you're trying to make it sound like teachers have to do this from one perspective and one perspective only.
No, sir, I'm not. Your bill says that they do not have to talk about it at all.
Victor, that is just not.
And if they choose, sir, again, you're attacking CNN, does nothing for your cause. Doesn't make a single student in Texas any smarter, doesn't help a teacher there. But you brought up CNN. My question, sir,
it doesn't matter to me. You're not going to do this from a non-biased perspective.
You came onto the show. We invited you. You decided to come on.
So he said a key point. The bill's author, he says, and these are GOP lawmakers, guys. These are our lawmakers that we keep giving them a seat. And I'm just going to point that out before I get to the next point. We keep giving them seats. Mind you, this guy just said diverse, right? He said that this bill is going to be diverse. And I'm only speaking from a diverse point of view, which he called out the CNN anchor and said that, you're speaking from a biased place, yet this whole bill, these people can literally write something that is literally drenched in white supremacy, created to leave out our history and the power moves that we have done, right? Us shutting stuff down, making white folks, white lawmakers, white leaders in America shifty, right? They don't want to put that in history. They don't want to put where they failed time and time again in history. That January 6th terrorist attack, that was a failure. That was a failure on America's part. They don't want to put that in history, and they do not want that blood on their hands. And so what this lawmaker is doing is pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and making sure that that's his point. Yet what's written on paper, like you said, Bubba, in black and white, what's written right before us is showing that it's a biased point of view that only assists the white narrative that they've been doing in America, that colonial, that colonization, the colonizer, that colonizer point of view, that colonizer mindset. That's exactly what he's speaking on. And he's speaking to a black anchor who literally has time today, you know, on CNN. And you're speaking to him, he's saying, look, listen, you fighting and making this about CNN still does not make your bill less racist. It still does not make your bill diverse. Right. It still does not give us what we need when we're saying why we can't show America without the covering. Why we can't show America for who they really are, for what it really is. And that's what's important. But here goes, just like Republicans, just like people on the far right, just like people who support just like the MAGA crew who support anything radical and anything stupid and anything that is a lie. What they're going to do literally is do it and paint the picture of it and literally say that's not what it is. This is diverse. This is going to help black folks. This is going to help white brown folks. This is going to be something that helps immigrants. Us lying about our history and what's happened, you know, and this is going to save us. Look, here is Abbott signing this bill. And this is what, and this has been their thing, Bubba. If you've noticed, anytime they've been signing a bill recently, their background has looked like this. And they got the one black man in the back.
Yep. And I was just about to say, I wonder how much they paid him to be back there. Because you can't be okay.
He's over there shucking and jiving. There he
shucking and jiving.
They said they got me to come on in. They said they want me to come on in.
Let me in the office. So I guess I was gonna come on in here and stand behind these good old governor.
Master said I'm a march right up on in there. Hey,
Master said he be in the office.
David, go ahead. I want to take a listen on what Abbott is saying.
To keep Texas the best state in the United States of America, we must never forget why Texas became so exceptional in the first place. A law creating the 1836 Project does that. The 1836 Project promotes patriotic education about Texas and ensures that the generations to come understand Texas values. Under this law, every newcomer to Texas who gets a driver's license will also get a pamphlet that outlines Texas's rich history, as well as the principles that make Texas, Texas. The law also establishes the gubernatorial 1836 award to recognize students' knowledge of the founding documents about Texas history. I want to thank Representative Tam Parker for his leadership on this, as well as Representative Serrier, Representative Toth, Representative White, as well as all the members of the Texas House and Senate.
Girl, for me,
Gregory,
you know what it is for me?
Sir,
it's the black guy in the back.
Ensures that the generations to
so
when he said something about the 1836 part, his whole facial expression just
because the ancestors done tapped him on the shoulders, and when they said 1836, the ancestors came and said, "Why are you over there shucking and jiving?"
Okay, like yeah, you feel it, don't you?
I didn't march. I didn't run through them woods. I didn't leave the plantation for you to do this. Now, you know, here's my thing. Even with Gregory Abbott, even with the governor sitting here and talking to the people and saying how important it is, it's the same way that the lawmaker was just on CNN lying. These are the lies that we were taught. These are the lies that we were told. The exceptional values of being told that the racism, the history, the monuments, the reminders every day that Black people lives don't matter, that immigrants, particularly Mexicans, because I'm talking about Texas, particularly Mexicans, their lives do not matter in those areas. And he's saying that history is rich, that history is very important, that history is to be protected, even though when we're going to talk about what really goes, or when we're going to talk about the history, we're going to lie about it to paint ourselves, to paint our state as something that it's not, and that is good, nothing bad. The way that he signed that document with fervor, it definitely threw me for a loop. Like these are our lawmakers. These are our leaders, y'all. This is why it's important to get them the hell out of here. We were just talking to Mary. I mean, we got Joe Manchin. We got Kirsten Sinema. Joe Manchin was just confronted by people of his party, civil rights leaders trying to make it right, walking up to him and telling him, hey, yo, all this anti-voting stuff that you are for, all this stuff that you're for, can you listen to us and tell, and we're going to tell you why it's not good. This man walked out from that conversation and still didn't give a damn. These are our leaders. They're partnering with the right in bipartisanship moves so that so that people like Abbott can sit here and still do what works for their party. But what works? What works for the Democratic Party? What works for the people who are suffering? What works for us who have been fighting and who have put these people in place? What works for us? I still haven't seen a thing. We're still fighting here in Georgia, trying to take the HR1. We're trying to get us to be protected in our own voting rights daily. We are fighting this even after we put 2 people in the seats and flip the state blue. We're still fighting. We're still fighting, and we have leaders like this that are telling us that the history of places like Texas, the disrespectful history, is important. And we should not tell our kids or have our kids learn that white folks walk around and shoot up locations because of how somebody looks, because of somebody's sexual preference, because of somebody's gender choice, because somebody's religion. We can't teach them that. We can't teach our kids what just happened yesterday when they ran up on the damn Capitol and fought for a person in their mind because that person didn't win the presidency, the lies, and fought for a lie. It's important that we keep that history and teach our kids that they fought for America. It ain't right. It ain't right.
Then you're going to give me a pamphlet when I sign up for my driver's license in Texas? Well, no damn pamphlet. So what is it going to say? 1836, we killed all these Black people in all these neighborhoods, and we did all of this. Yeah, let's see. Oh, yeah, also make sure that you have your white Klan mask, you burn the cross in the yard on a daily basis, and you go lynching. Yeah, cool.
It's pretty American, Bubba. It's pretty American. Listen, and this is, look, it just goes all the way down the line here. Like, and it's always a white man who ain't doing nothing but got told, hey, there's another racist law that we can put into place. Are you down for it? Yeah, I'm down for it. All right, let's go ahead and do it. And if we do it here in Texas, we can tap on Governor Kemp. You know, Governor Kemp is all about that in Georgia. And we can then tap on Governor Kemp and go get Governor Kemp to do what he needs to do. Then go over to Kentucky, go over to the good state of Kentucky and tap on everybody we know there. You know, we got Daniel Cameron, who's our little Black buddy out there. And he could definitely get something like that going for us too. Well, we got
DC handles everything.
We got No Neck out there as well, who could do something for us as well. So, yeah. I just feel like that's where we at. And I laugh about it, but it's actually that much of an effect that one state can have on another state. Look at the vaccines. Look at the vaccinations. Look at the opening of the states. When it came to the vaccines and the mask wearing, what states wanted to not mandate those things and made it American to not wear a mask? It was us. It was Texas. It was Georgia. It was us out here doing that mess. And it was one state that started it, which got to another state, which got to another state. So I say this to say, even with our education and the teaching, with Abbott signing this into law, I feel like it's definitely going to flow in to our own state here in Georgia. Hopefully not, but we already know how they get down. Birds of a feather, they what?
Flock together.
Come
Hello,
on now,
somebody.
Come on, somebody. So, Bubba, let's do a hard transition.
Okay.
You dropped something in the chat yesterday, and it was something about vaccinations and
Yes.
how you get if you do get vaccinated. What happens if you get vaccinated in Washington State?
Get a shot, get a blood.
So yeah, so that's literally what I'm hearing, and to me that's a good incentive. Even though I don't smoke, I think that's a good incentive for people to go out and get vaccinated. This is out of Washington State. They said they're getting creative with its vaccine rollout process. The incentive for adults with the free gift is of marijuana joints pre-rolled. On Monday, anyone 21 and older became eligible to claim their joint once they received either shot 1 or shot 2 of COVID-19. When we taking a trip, Bubba? We vaccinated.
Damn, we vaccinated already. But I mean, they don't know that. So let's go next week.
Let's get in the car and we're going to Washington State, baby. Look, that's me in the look, that's me in the blue little SUV. Remember? Hey, we busting through signs, baby. We're going to get.
That's when you hit that speed bump.
Look, oopsie, and keep it going.
It's off of marijuana.
And
the COVID vaccine
to get high and to be vaccinated. I think, and I don't smoke, but if I did, that would be me. I'm taking you on the trip. I'm taking Ben. I'm taking you. Let's go to Washington State and get vaccinated. Again. And I hope while Washington State is giving pre-rolled joints, they in the streets trying to get the folks that's in the prisons, okay, for marijuana charges out as well. While they giving while they're allowing, the incentives for vaccinations to be pre-rolled joints. I hope everybody is also fighting outside after they get them pre-rolled joints. I'm let them free. Let my people go. The ones that are stuck in those prisons or those jails for marijuana charges, and they can't see their kids, they can't see their families because they're on these marijuana charges.
And then did you see Trevor Noah's post? I think on Twitter it was saying like it's really good that Washington State is giving out the vaccine, giving out blunts for vaccines, but can we talk about and discuss that we were just arresting black people 10 minutes ago for this?
Somebody was just arrested yesterday for a marijuana charge. Okay, Cobb County, stay pulling somebody over. Cobb County here in Georgia, stay pulling somebody over a marijuana charge, and they are known to have crooked police system in Cobb County where they're planting marijuana traces on people. Look, and to me, free my people. If we're making money off of this, white folks got whole damn whole dispensaries, millionaires. Billionaires, I'm pretty sure Jeff Bezos probably has his hand in a few dispensaries himself. That's making money in his sleep. You see what I'm saying? Like, no, free my people, because they were selling to make $1 to probably feed their kids, to probably pay their rent, to probably make it because they could not get a job that paid enough for them to sustain their life. Free all of them, since we incentivizing
all of them.
Okay, free them today.
Give them free. Okay. It's just marijuana. It's just weed. It ain't gonna do nothing.
It's just weed. But for people, for black folks, it isn't just weed. It's a crime. A crime that our current VP, Vice President Kamala Harris, done put a few people in jail for. Okay, our current VP. While there are states that have legalized it here and that are making money off of the same thing. That a lot of people are. It's too much for me. It's too much for me. It's too much for me. I want to definitely. I think it's. I want you to play a real quick song while I get something together. I need to get my battery together. So while I do that, and Ben isn't here for me to just walk away. And so while I get my battery together, I want you to definitely play one quick song, because when you come back, we have a couple of cute clips for y'all to put. We're gonna play, and I want to talk about Miss Maxim, the first black hot lady on Maxim. So go ahead and tee us up with some good music real quick, Bubba.
Oh yeah, I forgot that David got to bring me back. Yeah, my other channel on the screen.
Tell him I need my money right now.
Hey y'all, make sure if you're not already, make sure that you join the Like It or Not channel on YouTube. Make sure that you join and subscribe to the Like It or Not channel on YouTube, y'all. We need 60 more subscriptions, man. Come on, y'all need us over there. Subscribe to it. We're gonna get to it. Then we can stop doing all the dancing between the two channels. So if you have not, go to the new YouTube channels right there on your screen. TinyURL.com/Like It or Not Show. TinyURL.com/Like It or Not Show. Y'all go subscribe. If you love me like y'all say you do, yeah, go do that, man. I appreciate y'all. Like it or not.
But no need for comparisons. What's from me won't be from me. Yeah, I'ma go through just to grow through. But pay me what you owe me for. I make what you've been saying about me true. Tell them I need my money right now. Brought me the juice, they stole out my crown. Yeah. Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup it. Don't waste my loyalty, my loyalty. I let you in back then because I couldn't see. But now it's clear you ain't ever been true to me. My intuition ain't ever lied, I had to leave. Handle your business, do what you think you need to do to get your revenge. But you won't break me, God as my witness. That's the point of no return, I'm on a mission. Tryna block my
Look like Kasim Reed is about to run for mayor of Atlanta again.
Yeah, I'ma go through just to grow through. But pay me what you owe me for. I make what you've been saying about me true. Tell them I need my money right now. Brought me the juice, they stole out my crown. Sorry.
All right, y'all. I think Rebecca is ready. Rebecca, are you there?
I'm gonna recoup. Yeah, don't waste my.
All right, fade out. Okay, so the fade out was giving what it needed to give. Now I don't know if my camera is situated because it's tripping out right now. So I'm trying to make sure it stays where it needs to stay. So I try to handle that, but hopefully it don't cut me off. Listen, I was reading these messages, but before we get to TT being Maxim's sexiest and hottest, and I want you to lead us into that story, Bubba. But Kasim, Mayor Kasim Reed has filed campaign finance paperwork to run for mayor again here in Atlanta. So look, I wasn't here for Kasim Reed being Atlanta's mayor. So what's the big deal?
You know, Kasim Reed was pretty good. Honestly, I think he was good. Keisha Lance, I mean, they were like neck and neck. But Kasim Reed really got a lot of stuff done. You know, I say that as far as getting movies, like he made Atlanta like the Mecca, the Hollywood of the South. Let's be honest. I give him that. Now, Keisha, I think Keisha can do good. I mean, she did good. But yeah, I think Kasim Reed, he may be able to come back in and do a little something.
Okay, and he was the mayor of Atlanta for 8 years, so he must have been doing something right. We have Keisha Lance Bottoms currently, who isn't going to take on another 4 years for the mayor, or 2 years, or she ain't coming back. She's stepping down. Coming back. She ain't doing it no more. Which I think, we talked about that, and we had our various reasons as to why Miss Bottoms, a Florida A&M graduate, will not be taking her seat again as mayor for the next term. But I think that she needs a break. It's been a hard time as a Black woman during a pandemic. the way that you handle some things was very questionable, then you're blamed for this. I think it's time to just have a seat and rest your feet. But if you said that, and that doesn't make her less, to me, that doesn't make her less qualified. Maybe it just happens to be a lot, and a breather is what everybody needs. You already know, a breather was what people need. So possibly that could be why she's stepping down. But if Mayor or former Mayor Kasim Reed was doing a damn good job, maybe we should have him again. Maybe it's not such a bad idea. He's even hustling in these streets. He's using his birthday party to campaign funds for his run. So he's crowdfunding in the cute way, in an Atlanta pretty way. Oh yeah, at the birthday party, throw that money at me. Throw that money at me. That seems really Atlanta of him. That seems really Magic City. So, yeah. So now I want you to tell us about TT. This beautiful black woman, this beautiful black queen, and TT is Tiana Taylor. You guys.
Yes. My sister Tiana Taylor, who has been named the Hot 100. She's the top. What is it? Yeah, there we go.
Women of influence.
First black woman named Maxim Sexes.
Okay,
and she deserves it. Like Tiana Taylor has been in the game for a while, been knowing her, listening to her music, awesome. But yeah, she should have been this long time ago. And Liu Kang said it better in the chat as well. Like, why hasn't there been a woman of color previously?
I'm just gonna say it. I was just about to say it.
Because don't get me wrong, Tiana is hot. Tiana is hot. But there are several. Angela Bassett could have easily made that cover.
Not only Angela, we have a lot of women who are beautiful women. And here's the thing. Maxim is an international men's magazine. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's devised and launched in the UK, but listen to when it was launched. 1995. It's based out of New York since 1997. So it's prominent for its photography of actresses, singers, and female models whose careers are at a current peak. So if that was the case, there are so many black women who deserve the spot on Maxim, and I'm happy that they got here. But we're in 2021, so did nothing from 1995, and that was 1995, y'all. 1995 to 2021 did nothing, did no movements, did no particular things pop out for you guys as a men's magazine in New York City, a very pretty diverse place. Did nothing say, hey, let's get somebody of color. Let's get a black person, a black woman on our nothing at all. From 1995 to 2021, nothing at all said, hey, as a publication, let's start moving. Let's start moving with the waves. Let's get somebody. Nothing at all. That makes me crazy. It's crazy that black women or not only black women, first blacks are still happening in corporations and everything. Like the first black to do XYZ, or the first black person to do this, or the first black person to do this. And shout out to Tiana Taylor for making history, being the first black woman to cover Maxim, which is a big deal.
Yes, it is.
But at the same time, I would be remiss if I didn't point out, damn, they waited till 2021 to do this.
Yeah. Liu Kang dropping them today. He said they act like black folks really just came out.
Yeah.
We've been on. Y'all just late.
They always do that. They act like they really do act like black folks just came out yesterday. That's why I said there's been so many moments from 1995 to 2021 that has highlighted black people, that has highlighted black women for a lot of different reasons. And that's why I don't know. I'm happy that she won it. I'm happy that she's here for it. I'm happy, but we got to do better. It's just a reminder that we got to do better as a people. We got to do better as corporations. We got to do better and shine the light on black people, not only because of that we're beautiful, but because we're smart. That's another thing, taking it back to Texas. Hey, let me tell you something, Governor Greg Abbott. Okay, let me tell you something, Mr. Abbott. There are a lot of black people who are the part of the positive reasons for history that y'all still haven't added to the history books. How about that? How about that? How about that? So here we go. Listen, we're going to continuously be the first. And at times, we're not even the first. We were the originals. We don't even have to be the first black people. Sometimes we're the originals to do something, and they don't want to add us to the history books. We got to find out from Black History Month while digging deep into ourselves and finding out who we are. But let me tell you something. Shout out again to Tiana Taylor. Well, we got to do better, corporations. We can't just accept this and be given to us. We're going to take it and we're going to shine in it, but we're also going to remind you, God damn, all these years you've been racist.
All these
years.
It
took you so long. We're going to remind you. So with that being said, we are at the 10:25 mark, and I think we've done a pretty good job.
Okay.
Elevating our voices and speaking. I feel like that was a vote moment for us. Straight
It
up.
was. Then we lay them out. Swam.
Listen, we gave them what needed to be given. And next time I need you to have that ginger orange. My nail is gone though. I can't really. But next time I need you to have that ginger orange, wig and place her on. And so you can hair flip with me. Okay. So we can give it what needs to be given.
Can't stand you.
But no, honestly,
now I gotta get a wig.
Honestly, yeah. And I know that you have some great content coming up though, for the show, especially since it's Pride Month. And who better to give that than Bubba? Bubba Sparks. No, who better to give that than DJ Exclusive?
I can't say it right.
So, you know what can our audience look forward to when it comes to Pride Month?
Man, so I wanted to do some stuff this week, but of course I got it in late. My life has been all over the place, but it's okay. It's good. But Saturday will mark the 5th year anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting. So definitely want to get something on Friday to commemorate that, to share that. It's a few things out there. I want to share some information, some knowledge about not only being gay, but being Black and gay, so I think it'll be real good to discuss and talk about. There's one video clip that I definitely want to share, not today, maybe tomorrow, where homegirl, my sister, she broke it down, how it's like being Black and gay and growing up and what we actually went through and what it means. So when I tell y'all, you'll like it. Got a few cuss words in it, but you need all of it. I need y'all to understand it and feel it.
Yeah, it's the important part is actually the conversation. And I think, Bubba, what's important is that it doesn't come from somebody who doesn't know the experience, but it comes from somebody who actually lives and can speak to the community head on. And I don't want to forget or make, we have so many viewers who actually are a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. I gotta learn them. Got the alphabet, honey. And who I don't want them to feel like they're forgotten on this month. Like I don't ever, because we never let y'all forget that we Black and we proud. So I don't ever, but Bubba, that's also your community, and I want you. And I know that you're gay and you're proud. And there's a lot that comes with that too. And there's good history facts about gay people who have made a difference in this world. And, I know that you're going to be great. The best one to highlight that. We even have Representative Park Cannon, who we're trying to work on getting on the show, who is also gay, and a representative here who was actually dragged out for tapping on Governor Kemp's door while he was signing an anti-Black voter bill. And I ain't like that. So, that woman that was dragged out, she gonna be on the show. Well, I'm saying that she's gonna be on the show because we're working on it. But once we get her on, that could be a great conversation for both of you guys as well, to talk about. And you being here in Georgia and her being a representative who has seen it from all points of views, but who's in a place and she's doing amazing. I think this is gonna be great. Listen. We're at the end. We made it. And I think today's show was pretty great. While Benjamin is resting his voice, you guys send him his prayers, send them up some love. And definitely be here tomorrow with us at 8:30. Thank you guys for tuning in. And pull up, get your friend's friend. Your friend's friend. I feel like we should be playing like some UGK right now. I just feel like, I don't know. I'm feeling UGK right now, but get your friends UGK. And have them pull up on us at 8:30 in the morning. And before 8:30 at the 8 o'clock hour, you have On the Clock with Benjamin Dixon and Georgia Fort. Catch them first. pull up afterwards. Come out to Like It or Not. It's going to be a vibe like it is every single day. And make sure that you guys, if you are not already, because Bubba's going to let y'all know, become a patron at patreon.com/Like It or Not. And we're taking it over to the Like It or Not page on YouTube. I know that you guys get a little confused where there's this, you guys get lost. There's like a little black hole when it goes from the regular show to the after party.
You're right.
Find us in the after party or Like It or Not. Get everybody over there to our Like It or Not page. We're going to eventually be streaming from there and there solely. So on our Like It or Not page on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. Help us be able to monetize so that we can keep doing what we do for you.
Yes.
All right. So we're at the end of the show. I love you guys for real. And remember, say no to bipartisanship. I love you. I love you for real. Bye, guys.
Love it.
I could really use a change of scenery. Yeah. Everybody smoking on
all right, y'all. We thank you so much for tuning in and joining us today, y'all. We enjoyed y'all. Brother Ben, man, we hope you get better soon, bro. Love you, man. Hey, y'all, thank y'all again. We love y'all. Love you, Rebecca. Love you, David. Appreciate y'all the best. Give y'all a little still fly before I get out of here for the day, y'all. Love it.
Pills to make the man, but that poison's gonna chew you from the inside out. So right now, say it with your chest now. Say it with your chest now. I'm young, I'm free. Can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time. It's my time to ride it. I'm young, I'm free. Can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time. It's my time to ride it out. It's my time. Oh, cheers to all the haters, 'cause you proved to me that rising to the top was my.
All right, y'all. Make sure that y'all follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. So you know when Like It or Not's going down. And make sure that you subscribe to the channel as well. tinyurl.com/Like It or Not. tinyurl.com/Like It or Not, y'all.
I could be a hater like you. Clothes to make the man, but that poison's gonna kill you from the inside out. It's time to say it with your chest now. Say it with your chest now. I'm young, I'm free. Can't nobody tell me here and now. It's my time to ride it out. It's my time to ride it. I'm young, I'm free. Can't nobody take me here and now. It's
All right, y'all. That's gonna do it for me. I'm gonna let the little breakdown play, and that's it, y'all. Love y'all, mean it. See y'all in the morning.
If you're on the bus, say yeah. Yeah. If you're on the train, say yeah. Yeah. If you gotta walk, say yeah.